So here's a Airbnb data science interview question where we have a data set with the ID of the guest, the ID of the host, etc., etc. And what we want to do is rank guests based off the number of messages and messages that they've exchanged with the hosts. So they might exchange with the hosts on more than one occasion, but we need to aggregate this in some sort of form to get like the total number of messages that each user has sent across time, according to our dataset. So what I'm thinking is we want to get for each guest the number of messages. And generally speaking, when we're talking about like for each, we're thinking of a group by. So what we want to do is we want to take our dataset dot group by, and essentially for each ID, we want to grab the number of messages and get the total. So we can use dot sum like this. What I might do is just store this in a variable called data, and because I want the ID guest to be one column and I want the end messages to be another column, I'm just going to convert this from a group by object to a data frame object. So what I can do is just reset the index. And if I print data, or just write the variable name data and run the code, we get a ID as well as the number of messages. The problem here is that the data isn't sorted yet. So what we can do is take our data and dot sort values, and what we're sorting by according to our expected output is the number of messages first and foremost. And it looks like when there is a tie between the number of messages, we want to sort by ID guest, but in ascending order. So what we're going to say is by is equal to, first and foremost, we want to sort by the end messages series. And in cases where there's a tie, we want to sort by the ID guest. But it doesn't stop there because one of them is in descending and one of them's in ascending. So we can set ascending equals as a list. The end messages will be in descending, so ascending equals false. And the ID guest will be in ascending equals true. Okay. Now, just so that I don't need to store this result in another variable, I'm just going to set in place equals true to make the changes to the existing data set. And that, if I take a look at data now, we should have some sorted output. Okay, looks good. Now what we have to do is create a ranking series. So ultimately, we want to map the highest value of n messages to the ranking of 1, and then the second highest to the ranking of 2, etc. So what I'm thinking here was creating a dictionary, maybe a dictionary called mapping, and then creating a new Pandas series based off that mapping. So what we could do is create a new dictionary called mapping, and let me just set that to an empty dictionary. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through all the unique values in this series. So the way I'm going to do that is by, let's just say vals, let's just say nums is equal to, we want to take the end messages series and get only the unique ones. So we want to take our data, grab the end messages series, and dot unique as a Pandas series method. Let me just make sure that this is sorted, just as a triple check, and we can set reverse equals true, I believe, for the built-in Python sorted function. Okay, and so what I'm thinking now is, with this dictionary, the key will be 20, and then the value will be 1. So we could say for index num in enumerate nums, just to see what enumerate does, just in case you have never used it. Let's print the index and print the num. So what's going to happen here when I run this is that 0 corresponds to 20, 1 corresponds to 17, but we actually want 1 to correspond to 20 and 2 to correspond to 17. So what we're going to do is inside enumerate, just set the starting index equal to 1. And if I rerun this, we get what we need. So basically what you're going to see here is that I'm going to have to set, in our mapping dictionary, we're going to set the 20 as a key, And then as the value, we're going to set this temporary index that changes at each iteration of the loop. So let's just print mapping just to see that this, not messages, mapping, to see that this was created correctly. And if I run that, we get, yeah, perfect. So 20 maps to 1, 17 maps to 2, etc. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to create a new Pandas series called ranking. So we can say data ranking, and we're going to say equals, we're going to take our end messages series and essentially apply this mapping dictionary. So data and messages, that goes in quotes, and we're going to dot map, and the dictionary that we're going to use is mapping. So if I now take a look at data and rerun everything, we get perfect. We get this column called ranking, which ranks our end messages. The only problem here is that the output has ranking first, then ID guess, then end messages, unlike ours. So easy fix. All that I have to do is just set, let's just call it new data is equal to data, and I'm going to grab the columns in order of ranking first, then end messages second, then ID guessed third. Okay, and if I take a look at new and rerun, we should get, wrong order, that's annoying. So end messages comes last. Rerun, and we should get exactly what we need. Yeah, so the output seems to match. Let's just check the solution. Pretty confident, and there we go. So yeah, it looks good. All right, thanks for watching.